you.
You leaving me?
Yes.
Well, where the hell you think you going, bitch shop? You ain't got no money, you ain't got no family, everything is in my name. The car, the house, you ain't nothing, you ain't gonna never be enough without me, Norman. Norman, you just can't leave. Norman, please, I'm a child.
With child.
Wiener, 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 next to another wiener.
Hey everyone, it's your girl T, and let's talk about the latest episode of Thrones, Season 7, Episode 5, Eastwatch. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed this episode. There were some cool scenes in it that I did geek out over, but overall, there were a lot of rush scenes that made me kind of zone out of this episode, and I was kind of disappointed that Eastwatch was basically a leading up to Eastwatch than actually being at Eastwatch. And I'm just saying that because we have all these things that were in this episode, but we didn't get to Eastwatch until way later. We did see a little glimpse of the Night King with Bran, and you can see he's still scared of the Night King because once the Ravens saw the Night King and the Night King saw the Ravens, they kind of just scattered everywhere. I did like that little small scene, and then he's saying like we have to warn everyone because clearly they're getting closer. We also got to King's Landing, and this is where I'm kind of disappointed in this episode because a lot of scenes were rushed. We had Cersei say that she's pregnant, and I just want to say that in the books, I did a thing with Clash of the Queens. If I can find the live stream we did, I'll link it in the description box below. But I had the thought that not the thought, but I did think that Cersei was pregnant
Norman, please, I'm a child.
in the books only because they have these little details that it makes me go, huh? So the first one was that her clothes couldn't fit, and I was like,
Norman, please, I'm a child.
why your clothes don't fit, girl? You're not eating more. And then the second was that she couldn't stand the smell of eggs.
Norman, please, I'm a child.
And I just thought that was so weird reading that in the books because a few days before she was at Tywin's funeral and everyone was covering their mouths and their nose. Marjorie had a flower to her nose, and Cersei, she just stood her head up high. And the smell didn't affect her at all. And she was actually really pissed at Tommen because he kept, telling her that it was a really strong smell. But then you get a few days later, she gets some eggs and she can't stand the smell.
Norman, please, I'm a child.
And then the description of it's a description of something where it says something about the egg and how it's not going to survive or something like that. If I find the link, like I said, I'll definitely put it in the description box below. But I just thought that the scene was rushed so much because she said she's pregnant. But once again, we don't know if it's true. I highly doubt that kid makes it, but because she has a record of her kids not making it. I know, shade, but no shade. But she's that kid's not going to make it, and we're not sure if she's actually pregnant. And let's be honest, we're not even sure if that's really Jaime's kid.
You're not my dad!
I would not be surprised if she slept with Euron, but most likely it probably is Jaime's kid if it's even real, if she's even really pregnant. But we know that before she says that Jaime met with Tyrion. And this is another reason why I didn't really care for this episode, because this scene I felt was really important that needed to be drawn out because these people hated each other to a certain extent, especially Jaime, who I really don't think should feel that mad at Tyrion for killing your dad, who before he even died, you were kind of going against him and he was playing you and you were upset about that. In matter of fact, you've been upset about your father for a very long time.
My father always said I was a slow learner.
And you were being disloyal to your father for a very long time because your father wanted you to quit the King's Guard and take your seat at Castle Rock, and you didn't. And because you didn't, Castle Rock did get taken, not just because you left men there so that you can take Highgarden, but because you weren't there to hold Castle Rock, period. Like, no one's really leading Castle Rock, the Lannisters. Now you're just leading the army, but You're not even doing a really good job at that because most of them got burnt anyway. But enough about that, dude. Moving along. At the beginning of the episode, I definitely like the idea that Tyrion's looking for Jaime to see if he was in the rubble with all the burnt bodies. But what I did not like is that he got away from them so easily by swimming out of the lake. Like, come on. It should have been more than just Tyrion looking for Jaime, but whatever. We have to move things along. And I have to say, I'm a little disappointed in that fight scene because there's no way Jaime can fight Dothraki. I'm sorry. And even in this episode, when Bronn is luring Jaime to meet up with Tyrion, he's like using the excuse, I'm trying to teach you to fight because you need help. We all know that dude needs help, so the fact that he's fighting Dothraki and he just disappears from Dany and that's it, and then she doesn't even say like, oh, we got him away, let him get away or anything like that, disappointed in that. But moving along, let's go to Dany and Jon. Another scene that I keep saying things I don't like, but I did enjoy it. It's just things I didn't care for in this episode were the rush scenes, and this is another rush scene. Jon finally connecting with a dragon, let alone Drogon. So we just skip through that and it's just like, oh, he can pet it, the dragon's cool with him, and that's it. No, like this is big. Like, show us something. Like you didn't even really show us Eastwatch. So therefore you could have just drew this thing out a little bit more so we really get that connection between Jon and Dany. But whatever. I don't know how to write shit. Y'all did. Moving along though to Jon going to Eastwatch and also meeting Gendry. I geeked the fuck out when I saw that. I was like, oh, it's history repeating itself again. Like, oh shit, oh shit. You have Robert with Gendry, you have Ned with Jon, and then Lyanna with Arya. I was like, this is history repeating itself because you can definitely see a type of connection between Jon and Gendry, like a friendship could be made. And then it just made me think of Arya. It's like, oh, and that could be Lyanna to mend the house together finally. But I know that's probably never going to happen. But it's wishful thinking, and I enjoyed it. Also, with Jon going to Eastwatch and everyone getting together, not really liking each other, but sitting it through so that they can get the task done. I think Jorah's gonna die. He got that coin. So you know your girl's happy. You can survive grayscale all you want, but you ain't surviving the White Walkers. He should have kept the grayscale and touched the White Walkers. They really should have kept it and used him as a weapon, but whatever. Anyway, but it looks like he's gonna die because remember, Tyrion did give him that little coin, and it just seemed like that's the kiss of death. Also, he was going to tell Dany he loved her again last episode. No, it was this episode. Tripping. He was going to tell Dany again that he loved her, but he saw Jon and he was like, nah, I'm friend zone to kiss the hands and like let me dip out. Also, let's go to Winterfell because this is something I enjoyed, but I didn't care for as well. Now, the thing that I enjoyed about this was the whole back and forth with Sansa and Arya, but mostly that Littlefinger is still on his shit, and he's playing these girls, and they think that they got it. These girls are so much alike. It's sickening sometimes watching it, but Littlefinger sees right through it bullshit. Sansa, who thinks she's really playing this game, but she's not at the level of Littlefinger, and he's letting her ass know by using her sister. And Arya, who thinks she knows everything, and you would think that Arya would learn her lesson from season 5, or was it season 6? Think it was season 6 with the Faceless Man, thinking that you can just do whatever you want, that you got it under control, that nobody can touch you, and your ass got stabbed last time. But nope, you think you at Winterfell, people ain't on that level, they not playing games. You can beat them. You can easily outwit everyone. And once again, you're not. And then we also have to talk about the fact that Littlefinger was talking to that Karstark girl. But also, I like the fact that Littlefinger's just playing them. He put the right letter in the area so that Arya would catch it. And it's a letter that we all know that she wrote stating that, Rob, to come bend the knee, that Ned betrayed him, that Robert died. And Arya just took it and she's getting played. She's getting half truths, not the whole thing. And then before that scene, you had Arya and Sansa going back and forth. And I think what triggered this is the fact that Sansa's sleeping in their old parents' chamber. Now, you remember last season, Jon and Sansa had like a back and forth, like who should sleep in the parents' chambers. So you're having basically the same argument, except for because Arya and Sansa were a little bit closer as far as growing up, they had this rivalry and they've been always arguing. So I think this triggered it, and she's like, you've always wanted this. You love the fact that they're telling you this, that you're better at this than Jon and all that. You should be killing these people. And Sansa, I do believe she enjoys this. I really do. When you think about her saying like people should listen to me, what about what I think, and now she's finally getting it. Yes, I definitely think this chick wanted this and she likes the attention, and I think that if Jon comes back, it's going to go away. So yes, I do believe that she, in her head, she's like, if Jon doesn't come back, it's not going to be the end of the world, because a lot of moves he was making was detrimental to the North, even though he was doing the right thing. But he did leave to go down to Dragonstone, and we don't know for them in the North if he's still gone, and he's been gone for a long time. We don't know if he's got Ravens back saying he's okay. We don't know none of that. And we all know that Jon got captured, and Dany took his weapons, and she took his boat the second he got there. So she was right about a lot of things. So when you put that in perspective, I understand why Sansa likes the fact that people are finally listening to her. But she has to play this game. She can't just call them out because they can get up and go. And she has no army. This is still Jon's army, and she knows that. In fact, she said it. And when you have Arya, this is the part I don't like, is that they're making it seem like she still hasn't learned from a lesson, that she's still a child, because it seems as though Arya was jealous of Sansa. And the only reason why I say that is because Sansa is basically seems like in Arya's eyes that she's getting everything she wants. She's a lady of Winterfell. She gets their parents' room. Like, people are listening to her. And Arya's like, they shouldn't talk about Jon like that. We should kill him. Knowing damn well Jon would not say that. Jon took it to the chin. He understood that they were going to speak their mind, but that his word was final, where Arya's like, let's just kill them. Like, what's the point? Not understanding that if you do kill them, that they are going to leave. You can't kill their liege lord or anything like that. That's the same thing that Robb did. And the Karstarks dipped on him because he killed their father. Even though he had the right to do it, it's still bad. And it still has consequences, whether you're in the right or the wrong. So I didn't care for the fact that they made Arya seem jealous of Sansa, because I don't think she would be jealous, but they clearly wrote it that way. But overall, this episode was cool, but I wanted to see some White Walkers. I do think that the next episode we're going to see it, but I'm just going to hold that until my next review. But like I said, hit the like button before I tell Arya your name. Let me know down in the comment section below, what did you think about Sansa and Arya's argument? Do you think Sansa was in the right, or do you think Arya was in the right? Is Littlefinger back, or is this just a setup for him to die? And excuse me for the way I sound. I'm really under the weather, but I really wanted to talk to you guys about this episode. So until the next time, everyone, I'll see you on the other side.